I had a layover in Dallas, and I stopped in for a latte at a coffee joint, which shall remain nameless. However, last I checked, they had universally overexpanded so much that to buy their coffee, you had to use an intergalactic form of currency known as Starbucks. Anywho, I stopped in and I paid for my latte with a $5 bill. The bill came to $4.84, and I waited for my change, but it never came. Instead, the young lady slammed the cash drawer shut, craned her neck to look around me as if I were blocking her view of Bigfoot shooting craps, and yelled, "Next!" I was dumbfounded. Because even though 16 cents won't make or break me, I do think it's a bit odd for a cashier to assume that a customer doesn't want her change. I could see if I had walked away or muttered, "Keep the change." But none of that happened. So instead of moving out of the way, I held my ground, glaring at her with that look I give my kids when I know that they know that I know that they're up to no good but won't admit it. And then as she suddenly remembered she left her baby on a bar stool at Hooters, she looked at me apologetically and handed me a receipt, which, by the way, had my change listed on it. "Excuse me, what about my change?" "Oh, you want that?" "Well, yes, it is mine, right?" She let out this incredibly annoyed sigh. "I can't open the cash register drawer until I help the next person, so you're just going to have to step aside and wait." "Oh, fine." I scooted over so the guy behind me could place his order, which, by the way, had so many instructions, it was like he was closing escrow. Let's see, could I get a decaf latte, grande, soy milk, sweet and low, no sugar? Oh, and can I get one of those gluten-free cinnamon rolls? But could you scrape the goo off the top and maybe add a little bit of cinnamon, nutmeg, some allspice if you have it? Geez, why don't you just order a root beer float with diet root beer while you're at it? I wondered why a guy like that would make a pit stop at a place where the food rolls off an assembly line like it was a subsidiary of the Ford Motor Company. In the meantime, a barista yelled out my coffee order. So like Pavlov's dog, I trotted over to this counter to retrieve my delicious hot beverage. I wasn't gone more than 2 minutes when I came back, and the young woman behind the counter was now a young man. Wait, what? Excuse me, where'd the gal go who was just here? She left. Her shift's over. Oh, that's when it got a little weird. I mean, who in their right mind risks missing their connecting flight over 16 cents? Yes, it's the principle that mattered, but all this kid would see would be some crazy lady who was trying to scam 16 cents out of the till on his watch. Not exactly my finest hour. I skulked away angry. After all, what if everybody left behind 16 cents? That would start to add up. What's this world coming to if you can't even expect to get the change you have coming? You can bet that if my coffee cost $4.16 and I said, "I'm sorry, I only have $4, feel free to make up the difference," I wouldn't be getting my coffee anytime soon. And that's when I looked down and I saw a $10 bill lying on the floor. Right there in the middle of the busy concourse. Nobody saw it but me. I picked it up. I should have felt vindicated, but instead I felt a little downhearted. I only lost 16 cents, but somebody else lost 10 bucks. It's as if the universe were saying, "Oh my gosh, enough already about your stupid 16 cents. Here's $10, now shut up! As I was going down the concourse, still wondering why I wasn't doing cheetah flips over finding $10, I passed by a young mom and her 2 cranky toddlers standing at a pizza counter. She had a wad of cash in front of her, but she was still digging around in her purse, obviously short the total. Her kids were tired and whining. Her face was full of fatigue, and there was a long line of weary travelers impatiently waiting behind her. Those were a couple of those kids making some noise. Anyway, I felt for her. I couldn't believe it. So I stopped, I turned and backtracked to the young woman and placed my newly found $10 bill on the counter next to her little pile of cash. She looked at me with an "oh my gosh, now what" look that bordered on anger. I think she thought I was trying to cut in front of her. I simply smiled at her and said, "Keep the change." Then I left her to manage her brood and continued down the concourse to catch my flight home. 16 cents poorer, but $10 richer. Madam Toastmaster.